Hello, I'm JW. This time we have these things to have a look at. Now these were sent in by somebody, they didn't put a note or anything with them, so they are anonymous, but nevertheless that's what they've sent. It's some LED GU10 type lamps, and some of these look fairly reasonable and others definitely don't, so let's have a closer look. Now these were sent in by somebody who did not put a note in, so they can remain anonymous, but essentially we've got quite a load of these things. They all appear to be the same except for one of them, and we'll just take these out of the boxes here. These Philips boxes are not the things of what are inside. Presumably they had some new ones that were Philips ones, and these were the old ones which were removed, presumably for being either defective or not really suitable for the application. So we'll just take all of those out of the boxes. There's also this one, which is a completely different style altogether. This has absolutely no weight to it involved, so we'll have a look at that one maybe separately. So what we've got here then are the sort of GU10 style connectors. These are 50mm diameter things, and these look to be some of the older types where you've got the individual LED chips inside, rather than the newer ones where it's all on a single circuit board. Now most of these look fairly okay, apart from these ones where you've got the damage and black marks inside. So 4 of those which look okay, although whether they work or not is yet to be determined. And then we have these 2 which are a different pattern of the LEDs inside. You can see clearly there's some kind of damage been occurring in 2 places there, and similarly on this one. And then we've got this one here, and again we've got a single LED there which has got the brown or black dot in the middle, so presumably that one doesn't work either. So let's see how much power these things use for a start. We'll go for one of the ones that doesn't have the burnt and destroyed bits in. Got the power meter here, I've seen this in a previous video, and let's shove this in here, and certainly it lights up. So seeing there about 3.5 watts, power factor of 0.5, which is pretty terrible, and voltage currently about 248. Now that one does appear to actually work correctly. Let's just try some of these others. These all look reasonably okay. Yeah, that's sort of well, 3.2 watts in the case of that one. Yep, all of the LEDs do seem to work, and likewise that one's only just over 3 watts, and then finally this one, and that's sort of 3.26 or so. So the variable current on those, or power on those, definitely not what you would expect, and so all of those do seem to at least illuminate. And now we have these other ones. Now this has got a single, what appears to be a melted dot in the middle, so let's just try that one. Okay, well it does actually work, but the current is only showing at sort of 2.5 or so, or 2.6 watts there. It seems to be increasing, and that little dot in there is actually bust, and the others are flickering somewhat. This one certainly seems to have several misfortunes inside, so we'll have a go with that one. Well, kind of lighting up, but as you see there, 0.3 watts, so that's definitely completely bust. And then this one again, similar to that last one with the 2 or 3 damaged sections inside, and that doesn't light up at all, even though it's apparently still using 1/4 watt for something. Let's just have a look at this one though. This is a totally different one. This is made by Mega Man apparently, and this claims to be 4 watt and about 43 milliamps. So let's see if this does actually do anything. Okay, well that lights up. That's obviously a warm white variety, and that's only showing us 3.6 watts, current about 27 milliamps, which is clearly far away from the 43 milliamps and 4 watts that the thing claims on the side. So obviously that's not exactly wonderful, although it certainly is a reasonably bright looking thing, but obviously nowhere near the power that was claimed. Now these 2 are the basically busted ones which have this sort of circular pattern of LEDs, and these others all have them in lines, so I would imagine these are all going to be pretty much the same. So I think we'll just open the one with the busted piece in that. And again, of these two, we'll just go, say, for one of those because they're going to be reasonably similar. Branding on these, this one says Phoenix and this one says Sen White. Now that claims to be 6 watts and the other's claim to be 4, but pretty obviously they were nowhere near that, so far away as you can get. Now these are glass obviously, so I just took it outside and broke them because there's not really any easy or nice way of getting into this sort of thing. So front lens there does appear to be glass as well, and again this one's fairly similar with the lens, it's just glued on and obviously placed into the back of this. So let's just remove this by just cutting off the wires at the bottom. So these are obviously a fairly older style, and by older I don't mean decades old or even that many years old, because this style was fairly common only a couple of years ago. So that's that one. So basically a little circuit board there, a little tiny driver with a effort of a bit of heatsink over the top. And this one looks will be fairly similar. So I'm just going to again cut those wires out of the bottom. Hopefully we can extract the glass from the top. Right, there we go. So that's the usable components, and we'll just get rid of the rest of this broken mess. So I've got a couple of different designs there. We've got this one, which is the one with the all the chips in straight rows, which is, say, most of them are of that style. That's one with the Sen White brand, which claim to be 5 watts. So unfortunately that one claims to be 6 watts, and they all look exactly the same on the front. But anyway, 3 watts or so is more in the sort of area. Let's just remove the heat shrink covering from that. There's certainly not a huge amount in these, but of course to cram it into the little enclosure there of the GU10 style, then of course they're going to have to make it incredibly small. So what I've got here then, we have 2 capacitors on this side, and on the back here it looks like a single bridge rectifier there. So here's the little board here, just a single capacitor there. At least it is 400 volt rated, so that's something. And this other one here, also 400 volts, 2.2 microfarads, claims to be 105 degree rated, and made by Chengxing. So mains comes in on the white wires, yeah, straight through the capacitor there, little resistor to discharge that when the power's removed, bridge rectifier in the middle there, and then we've just got the rectified DC coming out to the board there, and just a little resistor there, presumably to limit the current through those LEDs, and just the 2 positive and negative wires straight onto the back of the board. And individual LEDs, this one here is obviously bust internally and basically gone short, so the others are still working, but see the darkening in the middle of that. We can see the traces here, so it looks like the whole lot is just in series, so little start piece here through those, onto the next row across, and pretty much so on all the way up to the top, and then back through on the other side. And this side appears to be just 2 gigantic pads, one on each side for positive and negative, and little terminal or vias go through there and there to the other side. So extremely basic and not rated anywhere like the things it claimed, but of course this is fairly common with these sort of Chinesey type unbranded lamps. Now here's the other one with the more sort of radial pattern of LEDs, and this one has certainly suffered some problems here. We've got this damage over this corner, obviously some burning and destruction here, and another bit of sort of orange gunk or something going on that side, but certainly here's where the problem has occurred. At least one of those LEDs has busted and may well have failed open. And this one, all the components are actually on the back, which is certainly not an ideal design, because of course all the heat from the LEDs is going to be transferred directly to these components. So what have we got here then? We've got another, presumably a capacitive dropper. Again, another 400 volt job there. This little electrolytic 6.8 microfarads, 400 volts. Again, claims to be 105 HY. And again, this is a problem because with this here, and bearing in mind this is pointing down into the room, then all the heat is going to go straight on the back of here into the capacitor and cause it to fail prematurely. An awful lot of gunk and mess around the pins of the components there. But again, looks to be just a capacitive dropper there with the wires, white ones here from the mains, so again straight into the capacitor there. Got this rather large resistor here, presumably for either current limiting or inrush limiting there. Again, that's just the terminal going straight through. I'm assuming that's the bridge rectifier there. Yep, just the AC one side and rectify DC on the other side, and then this thing here for the smoothing. And the tracks on this one look to be going in a sort of a spirally effect, so coming through in the middle here and then just sort of going around and around in a pattern until we get over to this side where again it goes through again to the other side there. But certainly not the best design, because I say all these things are directly on the back of the hottest part. At least with this other one you've got the board separate, although bearing in mind if it's in this kind of enclosure you've got the board here on the front, and then your little power supply is basically stuck in there again in the hottest part. But of course with this style of lamp they're almost in all ways used in the ceiling, so the holder part here is by far the hottest. But at least this one has got a bit of clearance between the board and the little components there, whereas that one they're literally all just sandwiched on the back. So let's look there at some LED lamps, and although these are not actually that old, they're certainly of an older style. So where you've got your individual LEDs actually mounted on there. Of course the new ones have the cob style where it's basically the individual things are all put on the board and then the coating is put over in one big blob. And these are fairly typical of what tends to happen there. You get one that goes bad and it either goes open circuit, in which case the whole thing doesn't work at all even though the other LEDs are fine, or in the case of some of these they've gone short circuit. So although the rest of the thing actually works, the problem then is you're actually overloading the remaining LEDs, and of course then the others are more likely to fail, and before you know long you've got 3 or 4 have gone and then the whole lot basically ceases working. And basically just capacitive dropper in the back of those, so fairly simple and extremely cheap to manufacture. And if you want to send stuff in yourself then please do. The details can be found in the description for this video and several others. But until next time, thanks for watching.